stoked to have you here. Um, I want to start with a little tip-off question, and I like to ask people what they're listening to.
Um, right now I just got a new car that has that only has a cassette player. And so
Nice.
I'm really trying to make myself like just go hunt for cassettes and like kind of get into records that way. So
That's sick.
yeah, so I've been listening to the Stone Roses first record, Oasis definitely maybe, ZZ Top, Eliminator, and Sonic Youth Sister.
That's awesome. What kind
Those
of
are the
car is
ones
it?
I have in those are the ones I have in rotation right now. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Once I've been putting those in rotation, I've like, okay, it's time to get some more.
Yeah.
Four is not really enough.
Are you like going to like record stores that have tape selections and looking for new stuff?
Yeah, I've been there's a few stores. I live in Nashville and there's a few stores that are pretty close by that
Yeah.
either like kind of vintage like flea market type stores or actual record stores. There's a few that I'd want to hit up that I haven't yet, but I've definitely been to Grimey's and a couple other places. So yeah, that'll be kind of my new sort of thing that I can go hunt for.
Sweet. Yeah, I think a good amount of, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's a rise in tapes by like newer artists too. Like there's like a little bit of a tape scene like in this the next thing after vinyl coming back.
Yeah, definitely. And I've found out that it's like some of the like classic records that that I love and wanted to get on tape. Those are actually kind of hard to find and
Yeah.
pretty expensive on eBay. So,
Man,
yeah, I need to get better at doing some hunting for sure.
that's awesome. Well, aside from, the kind of old school stuff on tape, I'm curious, it's February now, but I like to do a little wrap up of music from 2024. Curious what you've been digging from last year. What were your favorites?
Yeah, I really liked the Jack White record. I think that record's pretty fantastic. I liked the MJ Linderman record a lot too, which is
Hell yeah.
not necessarily really up my alley, but like enough people kind of talked about it, and I was like, yeah, I got to check this out, and I was like, man, this is pretty fucking good. So, um, yeah, I like that one. There's a band I've been listening to a lot called Spiritual Cramp. They put out their first record. I think it was in 2023, but it was in like they've had a pretty big year or they had a pretty big year in 2024, so I'll just categorize it
Sweet.
there. But yeah, those three were kind of the ones that really stood out to me personally.
What is it about the MJ Lenderman record? I know that was at a lot of people's lists. What makes it not typically your style as well?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little like it is very like singer-songwriter y and like and kind of it's very like kind of 90s college rock.
Hmm.
Which it's one of those things where I didn't really like kind of get it at the time that all that was going
Yeah.
on. But now that it's kind of cycled, it's a bit of a nostalgia thing too. And just the songs and the hooks are just pretty on point. And
Hmm.
and it's kind of yeah, it's just like good, kind of easy. He makes it writing songs like that is really hard and he makes it look really easy. So I think
Totally.
that's impressive.
Yeah, I've had conversations with people recently that he's kind of like it's like pavement in a way. It's like this
Yeah,
generation's
yeah.
pavement a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Um, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely agree on that. That was in my top five. I'm curious to know, what bass drum and death has been up to lately, or if you've been up to any other projects.
Yeah, so we kind of took a break all of last fall. Didn't really do much, and I was kind of getting songs together for a new record, and we actually just finished a new record that we recorded here in Nashville. I guess a couple of weeks ago now.
Sweet.
Um, so yeah, really excited about that, and did it in a cool studio called Battle Tapes. That's we did it with a guy named Jeremy Ferguson, who's worked with all sorts. He's worked with Cage the Elephant a bunch and Be Your Own Pet, countless other great bands that have come out of Nashville. So yeah, we're really excited about that, and kind of looking forward to getting back out and doing the touring thing again, especially behind this record. It'll be nice to come back out after a bit of a break and like
Right.
play some new songs and that sort of thing. So yeah, we're just kind of gearing up for that and looking forward to it because it has been a minute.
Yeah, man. And then your last album was it was a live album, which was in my city of Chicago, which was very cool to kind of hear that. What venue was that at again?
It was at the Cobra Lounge,
Okay, yeah,
I think. Um, yeah, so we did two shows over 2 nights there. Um, so we figured, and they had a way to record it. So we figured this is a r really good opportunity because if we like mess something up or something, we'll have like a backup recording
sure,
of it basically. And we were listening through to them, and it was kind of funny because the second night was noticeably like our performances were noticeably looser and faster.
yeah,
So we ended up going with that one,
dope.
because it's a live record and we're a rock and roll band. It's not supposed
Yeah,
to be perfect, I guess.
exactly. Do you have a? I promise I'm not like uh trying to play favorites here. Do you have a favorite city to play in?
Um, yeah, that one's tough. I mean, obviously Chicago's always been great to us. I really love we always have great shows and great response in Paris
Oh,
and
nice.
and then like weird, like kind of more off the beaten, I guess sort of off the beaten path. We always have great shows in Denver, which I
Oh,
think is really
cool.
cool. And then the Pacific Northwest always treats us well. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's always fun. It's always those places that we don't necessarily get to hit quite as much just because it's such a long trip.
for sure.
But yeah, those are all up there for sure.
Sweet. Yeah, and well, the reason I kind of got you on is that I was tipped off that you were a basketball fan. Is I think it was actually Will from Hotline TNT.
Yeah, I am a big basketball fan. I grew up played through high school and
Nice.
yeah, and actually I was a ball boy for the Ole Miss like the college team in my town where I grew up in Oxford, Mississippi.
Sure.
So I was a ball boy for the college basketball team there for a while in my younger years. So yeah, I've been pretty into it for a while, and then I guess around that time was when the Grizzlies moved to Memphis. So
Yeah, yeah.
so that was by far living in North Mississippi, they were definitely our closest sort of
Right, right.
pro team of any sport. So.
Yeah, I was wondering that, like in Mississippi, what is like kind of the basketball scene like, especially before the Grizzlies moved into Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like football, college football is so huge in
Yeah.
Mississippi and in the South in general. So basketball was always a bit of an afterthought, a little bit.
Hmm.
The high school basketball scene was surprisingly pretty good though, and
Sure.
pretty spicy. Actually, my last game I ever played in high school basketball, I had to guard Monte Ellis,
Whoa,
who went on to play for the Warriors, and yeah, it was he's pretty tough. I tell people I held him to 40. So
that's huge, man.
yeah.
That's
Um
it's funny. Like I've had some people who have played semi-competitive basketball, like even a little bit of college, and even compared to that, that's probably one of the bigger names I've talked to someone playing against.
yeah, I was a bit over my skis on that one for sure. Yeah, he's pretty tough.
Yeah, I always think about like because I'm from Chicago, and when I was in high school, Derrick Rose was in high school, and our high school, I wasn't on the team, but our high school team played against Simeon in in like like a preseason game exhibition sort of thing, and all my friends kept saying they couldn't believe how fast that dude was. Like he is just like insane.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I actually went to I guess about the year before, went to watch Monte Ellis play at his like
Mhm.
home gym in Jackson, and it was like a celebrity thing, and like when he would get inevitably get a breakaway or dunk on somebody, and the whole place would just explode. It was pretty cool.
That's so awesome. Um, so yeah, as you said, you ended up being a Grizzlies fan. Um, how old were you when they moved there?
I don't remember. Um, I guess I could probably look it up, but I remember going to games when they were still playing in the Pyramid, which is now a Bass Pro Shops. And it was back when they had like Jason Williams,
Hmm.
when they had White Chocolate, and forget who else they had on there.
Zach Randolph?
Yeah, I think he was a little bit after. This was like kind of
Sure.
before that. But yeah, definitely the Zach Randolph and Tony Allen years
Yeah.
were a lot of
James
fun.
Posey. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and I've kind of depending on what I've had going on, especially like traveling or music wise and stuff, some years it's a little bit easier for me to follow than others.
For sure.
But yeah, ever since they've gotten Ja, I've been fairly locked in. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've been excited.
Nice. And did you live in New York for a bit?
I did. I lived in New York for about 7 years. Um,
When you were there, did you like kind of pay attention to any Knicks or Nets or anything like that?
yeah, I did, and I saw the Grizzlies play a couple times up there. I saw them in the Garden and at Barclays.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was always fun, and I always enjoyed going to Knicks games just because going to the Garden is fun no matter what's going on.
For sure.
But yeah, and also too, I like came to appreciate the Knicks because I had a bunch of friends that were Knicks fans, and
Hmm.
it's always a little bit more like popping around the city when like the Knicks are good or
Yeah.
exciting. So that's always fun, and it's different than any other sports. I mean, people get really excited about Yankees and Mets and that sort of thing,
Right.
but when the Knicks are happening, it's a different vibe for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I lived in Brooklyn for a few years and I would catch a bunch of Nets games, which definitely on the lower excitement scale, but it was like right when they got KD. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, they've made a bunch of moves that just have not worked out very well.
And
And
Ben Simmons is a major.
yeah, and yeah, they've had a few. Didn't they have Harden for a minute and they had
They
Kyrie and
did.
yeah,
Yep.
they've cycled through about all the big names
I know.
and just nothing sticks. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of these days they'll figure it out, but uh
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
So
They've literally tried just about everything, I think.
definitely. I mean, I feel like we gotta talk about the big news in the past few days. And I know this will come out a little later, but I mean, it's two pretty major trades. I think one obviously being bigger than the other, but the Luka AD trade. Curious your thoughts on
I think it's insane. Uh,
it.
to not like shop him on the open market
Right.
is wild because you could like I don't even think they got a first for him.
They got no, you're right. It's one pick and it was a second rounder, I believe.
Yeah, and it's like and AD's 31, 6 years older than Luca.
Right.
And I mean, it's hard not to look into the like conspiracy theory
Yeah.
aspect of it, especially with the Mavs ownership. It's like they're doing the that movie Major League where they intentionally want
Yep.
the team to suck so they can move it. It's hard not to look at something like that and be like, oh, that's what they're trying to do. Because it's just I don't really understand like any other. I mean, great for the Lakers, but but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really understand the thought process of it. Other than not wanting to pay the supermax,
Yeah,
which
that feels like a major thing, which is real shitty. But I mean, the GM's reasoning is they want a more defensive minded. I think what it comes down to is they just didn't like him. That's all.
which is crazy because he was like he was there he was like the new version of Dirk,
Right.
and the fan base loved him and
So loved. Yeah.
he absolutely drugged them to the finals last year too. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the wildest or one of the wildest like, you know, trades in terms of like my actual reaction to a trade that really doesn't involve any teams or people that I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a huge fan of. I was kind of blown away. I was like, man,
I mean, I
that's
think back to do you remember the Chris Paul trade that got vetoed?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And how
Um,
does this not get vetoed? Because this feels the same level, if not bigger.
yeah, I guess it's because you're trading, yeah, I guess it's not quite as lopsided. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems strange, and I would be surprised if, I mean, it might be a while, but I would be very surprised if we don't hear something come out about it, or something that
definitely.
was kind of behind the scenes, or if like, or if he has some sort of like weird nagging injury or something. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
The whole thing just seems super off, and yeah, I was definitely taken aback by it,
I mean, could you imagine like if they actually shopped him around, the kind of offers they would get? I have to assume you people would throw a lot to get Luke on their team.
yeah, I mean, there's maybe four guys in the league that would be able to command what he could command. And so
Yeah,
yeah, that's the other thing that I think is crazy is if you're the Mavs, you want to get, the absolute most you can if you're going to trade him. So
yeah.
yeah, the whole thing's a bit fishy to me, man. I'm putting my
Hmm.
tinfoil hat on.
Yeah.
It's yeah, nothing really adds up. I mean, I'm no expert, I'm no GM or anything like that, but like that's I mean, I think some people online the other night were like, yeah, we tried to do this trade in like NBA 2K
Yeah.
and they wouldn't approve it in 2K.
It defies all logic. I don't know, man. I feel like
Yeah.
I am also going in circles having like the same conversation of like, I don't get it. It's just like whatever. Lakers win. It's good for them in the long term. Like once LeBron retires, they have their superstar for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for sure. And also I hate it. I do hate it for that reason because I don't want the Lakers to
Right.
the Lakers and Grizzlies kind of have been going back and forth pretty good the past few years and like I don't want them to get any better.
I would have given, as a Bulls fan, I would have given Levine, I would have given so many people, so many picks to get Luca. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense, but
Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, you give up like four first round picks
yeah.
for the next 4 years or something to make it happen. But yeah, strange times, I guess.
So that is the other deal too. We have Zach Levine for De'Aaron Fox among other pieces there. But as a Bulls fan, I'm totally fine with it, even though we didn't get much out of it. But I think De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. 'Cause yeah, I like him a lot. As a player, I think he's had some weird like crypto. He
Oh
he he
yeah.
he had like a weird crypto scam.
Uh-huh.
Which I mean, given so many people are doing, like the president of the United States just did one, so you can't really
I mean
get.
the Lakers stadium company was crypto.com and that had that whole scandal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyways, yeah, I think De'Aaron Fox and Wimby, yeah, they're gonna be pretty tough, and I think they're kind of and they've got some other good kind of role players
Yeah,
too. So I think they're kind of assembling a pretty tough squad. They're gonna be tough, and I think for the Bulls too. Are you wanting like a Are you wanting like a rebuild of sorts?
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of the sentiment that I hear amongst my friends that are Bulls fans. It's like
Mhm.
get big contracts off the books and let's just start over kind of.
Well, and people are probably tired of hearing me saying I want that over and over, but like
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like what gives me hope because Reinsdorf never wants to truly rebuild. It's usually just like they want to be on the fringe. As long as they're selling out and they can like maybe be close to the playoffs, they're fine. But what gives me hope in that they are willing to rebuild is that they traded for their first round pick back. They received that back in the deal. So this year they'll have a top 10 protected pick from I think it's from the Kings or
Oh,
something like
good.
that. But
Yeah, yeah.
it was something that they traded away before and they got it back. So they're looking to draft again, which is a good sign for me.
Yeah, that is a good sign. It's always frustrating when because I'm a in the NFL, I'm a Saints fan,
Okay.
and we've kind of kicked the can down the road as far as that, and like so now we're just so fucked. Like basically, we're fucked for at least like 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
it's just such a hopeless feeling. It's like
Hmm.
you have to identify when to start the rebuild, and you know, um, so yeah, I commiserate with you for sure.
Yeah.
But that's good that they've got picks and at least can kind of get going on it.
Yeah. I think we'll see what happens between now and Thursday, whether they trade, Vooch or anyone else. But um, I have a feeling some other trades are going to happen before this deadline. Some other probably major ones.
When is the deadline?
It's Thursday.
Oh, okay, okay. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah, this
it's coming up.
be an interesting week. Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that. I was like, man, there's a lot of action the last couple of days.
Yeah. Right. Um, so in terms of Grizzlies in the current team, how do you like this current team?
Um, I like him a lot. I think I think it's a pretty balanced roster,
Hmm.
and at least like Jaw's been kind of off and on battling injuries and stuff, and I think maybe like tried to come back from the flu a little bit too soon, so he hadn't
Oh
played
yeah.
the last couple of games, and then the last two games were maybe two of my favorite Grizz games I've maybe ever watched because Ja wasn't playing and basically we had been down the whole game and then in the fourth quarter just like turn it on and make like some big time hustle plays to like beat the Rockets and the Bucks. And they're just it kind of reminds me of like the grit and grind. Like they make like some good they make hustle plays and they get
Right.
after it and they finally got some dudes that can knock down some threes. Um I think Zach Edey is going to be good. He's a bit like he just needs to get a little bit more comfortable, and I think the more he
Definitely.
plays that, and the more he gets a little bit more comfortable with the speed of the game and everything like that, I think he'll be great.
Yeah, there's not a lot of true big men like him in the league anymore. There is a little bit of a worry. I feel like, maybe it's like a kind of a Greg Oden thing. I hope not, but like he does like when he's like he's going like he's guaranteed to get you 10 boards and he's a solid presence down there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I want him to work out because of how much shit everybody was talking on Twitter when we drafted him.
Right. Yeah, right.
Because everybody was just clowning on that pick, and I was just like, dude, what are you talking about? Like he was like dominant in college, and I know
Right.
that doesn't always translate, but yeah, I'm excited about him to see how he develops, and yeah, we've got a good mix of young guys, and if we can get, I don't think I can't remember the last time I saw Marcus Smart play, so
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I feel like he's been hurt for like since we got him, and then
Hmm.
and I'm ready for Ja to get kind of back in the mix, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think they're super exciting, and it's just one of those things where you just got to put it all together. And if
Right.
they're able to do that, I think they could be they're definitely going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I'd hate for them to waste like some solid years with Ja. Like it is kind of a similar situation where it's like they're like they're definitely like a playoff, maybe the lower seed playoff team. I know the West is pretty competitive, but like it's like you either gotta take that shot up and get another kind of major piece, or like you don't want to just like linger too long and just like waste Ja's great years.
Yeah, I think they're like fourth in the West right now, which
Yeah,
is a pretty good spot. And yeah, but like I just hope they don't try to do something crazy like get
sure.
Jimmy Butler or something,
Yeah.
Like
Oh no, no, no.
yeah,
I
I
think I
think they
saw
just
that
need.
Jimmy would only sign an extension with the Suns, and that would just be wild.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think he's I don't know what he's got going on right now,
I know, man.
but yeah, it would yeah, I don't think we would entertain it, but I don't you
Yeah.
never know. You never know. There's like crazier things have happened this week. So,
Exactly. No one ever thought Luka would get traded, and here we are.
yeah.
Um, cool, man. So, uh, one thing I also wanted to ask too is like, growing up, I guess a Grizzlies fan. I'm curious whether it's Grizzlies or even college. Like, who is like your favorite basketball player growing up?
Um, Growing up, it was probably Allen Iverson.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
very
he was
universal.
yeah, he was a big one. I really liked I guess when I was younger, I kind of liked I liked Duke, and then I
Mm.
grew out of that, thankfully. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Iverson was probably the main one, and we're having a cameo from my dog here.
Oh,
She
nice.
um yeah, and then I really haven't since Iverson, I really haven't had, somebody that I've really like has been my absolute, favorite until
Yeah,
Ja.
for
Um
sure.
yeah, and then once because I was saw Ja play in the NCAA tournament, and
Mm.
he was, wrecking people, and then the Grizzlies got him, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's pretty incredible. And so yeah, I think that Iverson was my number one growing up, and Ja's my number one now, I believe.
I mean, definitely big personalities, point guard personalities. So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
solid.
yeah.
Um, cool. So, like the other major thing I like to do on here is it's playing a little game called musician matchups. The whole idea is, we got a list of players and we'll go back and forth, kind of like coming up with their musical comp. Um, like whether it's based on how they play or their career arc or puns, whatever it is, we'll just compare our answers and it gets silly, but it's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So we will start off with a former Grizzly, Dylan Brooks.
Ooh, Dylan.
Dylan the villain.
Yeah. My comp for him was Oasis.
Oh.
Um, because they both talk a lot of shit.
Hmm.
But when they're on, they're like really, really fucking on. Like
Absolutely.
Oasis's great songs are like amazing. And also they've both had a bit of a resurgence lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So that's probably my comp for Dylan Brooks. It's probably a bit more complimentary than I want to be to him.
Right.
But
I feel like that is giving Dylan a lot of credit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I just
It's kind
felt
of
like
hard not to, but
yeah.
yeah, that's a solid choice.
Yeah,
I
he's
did,
been tough recently.
yeah, he has. That
Yeah, I think
Rockets
he's
team is
I
really
think
interesting
he's
to watch.
he hits way more shots with the Rockets than he ever did with the
Yeah,
Grizzlies. So,
yeah, absolutely. Um, so the pick I went with, it was kind of in a similar nature, but just like, very aggressive and like antagonistic in nature. I went with the band Proto Martyr,
oh, okay.
um,
Yeah.
which is like, it's good shit. It's very aggressive, and then like, but the vocals maybe they're not for everyone. The that sort of like British talk kind of post punk vocals. Idols is doing it. Like maybe
Right.
it's not for everyone, but it is good if you can get into it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one actually. Yeah, I like that.
All right, next on the list, we're going with Marc Gasol.
Did you have I thought was it Mark or
Oh,
Pal?
you're right. It was Pau Gasol.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Pal Gasol as T-Rex.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, he's just kind of like smooth and effortless and just kind of like floats. The T-Rex songs, a lot of them they just kind of float through, and that's kind of how he played.
For
And also
sure.
also he was just kind of a classic like European big man, like really
Yeah.
good pass, he was just very smooth. Um so yeah, I think that was my choice for that.
That's exactly the same line of thinking. It was funny as I had written down Marc Gasol because I was going back and forth which one I wanted to do. But I do
Right.
feel like it applies to both of them kind of because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they were definitely like, that. that not overly flashy, very like methodical, like kind of like would surprise you just by looking at them, like how good they are. Um, so I went with Yola Tango, which I felt embodied
Oh,
those traits, and
yeah.
and not just for the double of having the Spanish name, but um, yeah, I feel like it's just like they're not like they're very like calculated and subdued, but like very good.
Yeah, and they can both like kind of buck up and get like tough when
Yeah,
they need to
when
too.
they
So
need
like,
to,
that was always
absolutely,
surprising to me whenever like either of them would get like heated. It was always like, oh, this is
totally,
yeah, somebody must have really done something shitty to them off, you know?
for sure. All right, third on our list, Tony Allen.
Tony Allen, I had Tony Allen as early Sonic Youth.
Oh, sick.
It's like
Okay.
confusing and intense and loud and short moments of kind of like really something that looks really pretty,
Hmm.
followed by long spans of very noisy and dissonant basketball.
Absolutely. Man, we're really in the same kind of reasoning for everyone
Oh,
so
nice.
far. Um, in the same kind of comparison, I went with Titus Andronicus.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So that sort of like grit and determination, and then like definitely not like one of the biggest stars, but like huge for the people that love them.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and definitely, yeah, that sort of dissonance and kind of chaotic energy for sure. Last on the list, then we got Ja. There's a few ways to go about this one.
Yeah, I was kind of I was thinking about it. I took a few notes earlier and I was kind of thinking about it and it's yeah, there's a few ways to go. I kind of went with just like a classic one. I think Jaws Bowie.
Ooh,
'Cause he's, a bit of a shapeshifter. He can do a little bit of everything. And usually when he's doing something, he looks just spectacular doing
absolutely.
it. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of where I landed on that.
Ja's one person, and like every time I see like a highlight like dunk of his, it like blows me away every time.
Yeah.
It's so insane to watch. Um, I may have taken a cheap shot here. I went with the controversy aspect
Oh,
of there's an artist who is very talented, super talented, but I really wish they like in the artist's case, I wish they would shut their mouth more. Where in Ja's case, I wish he just like didn't pull out a gun on Instagram Live. um, so I went with Morrissey,
oh,
which is like I like the
gotcha.
Smiths, in doses, but like I really don't listen to them because of Morrissey, uh, and because of the shit that he says. So I went with that controversial route of where Ja has been in my comparison.
Yeah, I can I can see that because like when Morrissey like his songs like are very like pretty and it's kind of
Yeah,
like he uses a lot of flowery language and stuff like that
right.
and then all the like off the stage stuff is yeah.
Just kind of kills it.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
But I have faith. I have faith that Ja is on the right track, and he's gonna just stay quiet off the court.
Yeah, I hope so. And also too, he's not he's young. So,
Yeah,
hopefully that was a bit of a wake-up call and yeah, because if he can lock in like I fully believe he can be, one of the best players in the league.
for
So
sure. You got any kind of predictions for the rest of the season? Have you been like consistently like watching or trying to get back into it?
yeah, I've kind of watched it. I've got the I've got the FanDuel thing subscription, so I'm able to watch the Grizzlies
Oh,
a lot.
cool.
So that's mainly what I watch. If there's like a big game, like a national TV game, usually I'll
Yeah,
have it up like during the week nights and stuff like that. But I haven't really gotten. I don't know. kind of what's what just quite yet. I'm kind of getting
Yeah.
more into it though. I do know um the Thunder look pretty
Yeah,
uh
they're insane.
insane, and the Cavs look insane too. That
Yes,
Thunder Cavs game the other night was great.
absolutely.
But yeah, aside from that, I just my thing is like anybody but the Lakers and the Celtics,
Yeah, totally.
and um yeah, so we'll see. I think it's gonna be interesting. I think there's a pretty good crop of like, 6 to 8 teams that have a real shot
Totally.
at a good run. So yeah, I'm
Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I just feel like this season, for so long, it was so hard to get into it. And I've been a huge basketball fan for a long time. But this season, for some reason, it felt like it was so kind of dull, and like I wasn't excited to watch a ton of games until these trades happened, and it has piqued my interest in everything again.
Yeah, the trade's happening, and there's some stuff like the Sixers, like them having like just starting off 0 and
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. So and they're starting to surge a little bit. So like having them back in the mix will be a lot of fun. I love Sixers Knicks games when they're both pretty good. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens, and
for sure.
hopefully the Grizz can stay healthy and make a little run and make it interesting for some of these guys.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I got, dude. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
It's been great talking hoops. Good luck to your Grizzlies.
Thank you.
Is are there any plans for tours for Bass Drum of Death, or you just looking out for the album?
Yeah, we don't have anything. We have a few things in the works, but nothing set in stone just yet. And we're just kind of just got the record done a couple of weeks ago, so we're still
Cool.
kind of ironing out all the stuff for that. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout because hopefully we'll be able to announce a bunch of fun stuff later on in the spring.
Sweet. Well, thanks again, man. It's been great talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck to your Bulls as well.
Appreciate it. Take
All
care.
right, cheers, man. Thanks so much.